crafters. Welcome into Guys Craft 2. My name is John and Happy New Year. And thanks so much for joining and being here this afternoon. It is an absolutely beautiful day in Phoenix, Arizona. And I am so blessed to have started my new year off strong in a lot of different ways. And I hope you have as well. Excuse me. So, tonight's a little, or this afternoon's a little awkward for me because it's all new, guys. So we have I still don't have all the cameras and things set up, but we are using the new software tonight, and hopefully that is working. If you notice, the chat's on the side tonight. It's not coming up on the screen, so I'm not sure how to do that. But we had to absolutely make ourselves go to the new software starting January 1st. And so hopefully you're hearing things look good, and we will figure out all the nuances over the next few weeks. But without delay, let's jump in and look at who's chatting and what's going on this afternoon. Joydy's here. Hey, Miss Joydy, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Janet's here, says hello, John, and everyone in the chat. Charlotte's here. Good afternoon, Charlotte. Brian's here. Hey, Brian. I did respond back to you. Hopefully you'll get that if you haven't already. But thank you, thank you. Who else? Katrina's here. Hey, good evening, she says. Katrina, Joydy, and everyone. Jackie's here. Hey, Jackie. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Oh my gosh, guys. So we will have to talk a little bit about the retreat, right? Because, that's where I've just spent the last 4 days. But let me tell you, if you have not missed Miss Balloonist in person and ever got to spend any time with her, um, she is a stitch. And she had me absolutely rolling almost the entire weekend. So for the last 4 days, we got to spend time together at the retreat with a lot of super, super nice women. We had a great time, but let me tell you, she is a hoot. So if you ever get the opportunity to be with her in person, you absolutely should take advantage of that. Balloon says, good afternoon, everyone. Just got home from the retreat. It was awesome. Joydy and Brian, I saw John's tulip pink. See, everybody's got to be a little tattler, don't they? I tell you. Katrina goes, who's ready to get back to normal? I hate to tell you, Miss Katrina, it's not me. We have been running and gunning since New Year's Eve. All right, sorry guys. Ryan says, did you take pictures? Normal, what is that? Hi everyone, pictures were banned. Katrina, I mostly have my house back in order from our after Christmas company. I can only imagine. If you noticed, we still have all the Christmas quilts up. We will get those changed out this week. Part of the problem is I've got to go figure out now what do I want to put up there. So that's one issue. And then the fact that we just got home, I tell you guys, we were exhausted. It was a great, great time, but definitely kept us on our toes this week. Joydy says, I figured there'd be no pictures. Y'all killing me. Katrina says, it took me all afternoon to find the parts of the project I was working on before Christmas, now to get back into the swing of things. Amen. I will show you, I did get one project done from the retreat. And I will give you a look at what that looks like. Hey, Alex, welcome in. Thanks for being here. You were certainly missed at the retreat. But completely understand, and we hope that you still had a great new year and that you are doing well. What else? Hey, Russ, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Oh, Katrina says, it's been dark and dreary there. The sun finally came out before it went down. Just crazy. Sad part is at the retreat center, they have a big, gorgeous pool with really a nice landscape with a nice pavilion, lanai, as they called it on Golden Girls, with a big barbecue grill in that. had we anticipated the weather was going to be the way it was, we could have actually probably had dinner at least one night outside. We could have grilled on the grill and that. But, this time of year in Phoenix, it's always a gamble, right? We have nice winters typically, but you never know how cold's going to get here, which so far, fingers crossed, it has not arrived, and I'm hoping it does not arrive. Who else? Trina says, hi, Peg Leg. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. That says, Happy New Year. It's rather cool in Florida, but warmer than Michigan. Amen, right? Stitching Life Together. Hey, thanks for being here. Becky, thanks for being here. Amanda. Dawn is here. Hey, Dawn, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Else. Mama Jan here. Look, poor Mama Jan says, I am here. Hi, everyone. I survived the best fun-filled retreat ever. Let me tell you, Mama Jan was up early every day, worked every day, pitched in and helped. We couldn't have been successful without her. She brought so much. We had already planned menus and brought a lot of food. Mama Jan brought a lot of things in addition to that. So I will assure you, no one walked away from the retreat hungry. Oh, Pegleg says, Karen and I had a blast. Kathy, yes. Kathy, thank you so much. Man, I can't believe you all may already be home. I guess so. I never thought about it. So, wow. But thanks for tuning in. Kathy and Karen were at the retreat. They were so much fun. We had such a good time with all the ladies. Everyone brought such different things to the retreat, and just, it's just nice when everyone gels pretty quickly, and just you would think it's just we had known each other for years and years. Hey, three grands and their mom and dad. It was a house full. Oh my goodness, it does sound like a house full, Katrina. Hey, Candace, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Jean's here. Hey, good afternoon, Jean. Miss Barb Scott's here. Hey, Barb, thanks for joining. Thanks for being on with us this afternoon. Trina says, I found out I have to get bigger throws for my grandkids. They're going to be tall. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, I remember my son is 6'2", which for our family has been tall, right? I'm 5'11". I was the biggest. My dad was only like 5'9". I think my brother was 5'9". I was 5'11", so I was considered the big one, which is interesting because my dad was the midget because his brothers were like 6'4", 6'5". So it was interesting. And my ex-wife's family was all very short. And so it was funny. My son ended up being 6'2". So, I mean, he just was so tall and lanky. And we laughed because one day he goes, all I want to be is 6'3". I'm like, really? Another inch is really making that difference? But, kids are kids, right? Hey, Dawn. Thanks for being here this afternoon. There's Inez. Thanks, Inez, for jumping on and being here. Mama Jan says the food was beyond 5-star. We did our best. We tried to make sure no one walked away hungry for sure. Oh, Jean says thanks for having the closed captions on it. Yeah, we try to do it. It's interesting because we use streaming software, but you have to go into YouTube and make sure that you capture it in YouTube because the streaming software actually doesn't generate it. So if we forget, sometimes it's not on purpose. We always try to have it on for anyone. Even I don't have any hearing problems in that, but I do sometimes just because my accent may come out a little bit sometimes, so I know it's good to be able to read to understand what I might have said. Joydy, hi Jean. Oh, Nikki B. Quilts is here. Hey, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Brian says FOMO is confirmed. Jackie says, discovered after working in my cutting room that it needs some rearranging. Workflow is horrible. Yeah, I tell you what, that's been the hardest thing in the design studio. So this station, which is great, and I have all of this, and one of the things, thank goodness I hadn't turned that on yet. One of the things I really like is the fact that I can sew here. I have this to work with, looking out, and then I have a cutting area, albeit small, but I do have a cutting area that I can use while I'm on lives or doing recordings. And then I have a small ironing area, but my cutting table is right there. My other embroidery machine is there, and the actual, but I still have to like go around, right? Because then this confined me to this, this in and out, which, it's fine, but you anticipated something different. It's taken a long time. So I understand exactly what you mean. It does take a while to figure out how workflow makes sense. Katrina says, my oldest grandson's taller than I am, and his voice is starting to change. That's always a fun time. That's always when the boys start to really grow up, right? Hey, Zaza, welcome in. I am so happy that you were here tonight. Zaza Lita, always fun to have you in the house as well. So what's going on? So let me show you the project that I got done. So we did supply three projects at the quilt retreat. So one was it's the cross weave table runner pattern by Villa Rosa. So we did take that and gave everyone, all the retreaters, a copy of the pattern, and we built out table runner kits that included the charms that you needed, the borders that you needed, and the backing fabric, along with cutting and taking the batting for it, along with the binding. So you were able to complete a full table runner at the retreat. Now, I don't have mine with me. I did not do one at the retreat. It is the pattern that I had done earlier in the year. And so I did take a sample of the one I had. I'd actually done like 10 of those, but I ended up gifting them. And so I was down to the last one, and I thought I better hang on to that to get that um, over there. The other gift project that we did is we took two different 3-yard quilt books, and each retreater was able to choose one 3-yard quilt book. The one that I like the best is Make It Home. There's a lot of things that Fran did in that book that I really like, and I especially like that she has coordinating pillows, table runners, and different things in there to go with quilts that you may be making. So I always think that's a cool book. So we did take that, and then we took 3-yard kits, and everyone was able to pick out a 3-yard kit. Few folks purchased additional kits, and so we made those available. But we took probably about 30, 35 kits because I wanted folks to feel like they had a range and had a good selection of what was available. And then we took the new Riley Blake pattern, the new wall hanging for Valentine's, which is a big heart in that. I will have pictures up and posted over on our Facebook page and share those with you. And I may try to do a recording this week and just talk about the retreat for about 5 to 10 minutes because I don't want to take all my life doing it. I appreciate everyone that was there. I appreciate the ones that did email me and wish us luck in our first retreat in that. So that meant a lot as well. But we did certainly have a good time. So between the Riley Blake wall hanging, the 3-yard quilt, table runners, we definitely had a lot to work on and a lot to get done. And several folks were able to complete all projects. Some focused on different projects. I did something completely non supplied related. I probably should have really worked on the Riley Blake wall hanging, but I didn't. I chose to work on a pattern that I had bought from Donna Jordan probably 2 years ago. So it's one of those that she promoted where Matt had cut all the fabrics for it. Ended up being smaller than I anticipated, which was a little disappointing. But that's also me being very new when I bought this a couple of years ago and not realizing what I bought. And no wonder it had such a great price on it because it wasn't that big a quilt when it got done. I'll end up probably using this more as a table topper, which is fine, but I absolutely love the colors. So let me take a drink and I will show you what I did. So, of course, it had to be purples, right? So, me and purple. And this is my finished out project. And I just loved the fabrics, the colors and that were in here. It was actually exciting. I actually was able to piece this and actually match the corners and do a lot of those things that I should be learning to do and getting better at. But I just fell in love with these colors when I saw it on their website. But like I said, this is the entire piece. And so we'll probably end up using it more as a table topper or something. I'm not sure what I'll do. I may end up gifting it or whatever, but now he's got the long arm. So now it's no longer my problem, right? But that was fun. And I really wanted to take something like this that I could still focus and work on, but because everything was pre-cut in that, I didn't have to worry about measuring or putting things together. I just had to square some things up. Oh my gosh, guys. And then I learned about block lock with the matching, so you can square up, your half square triangles and all that. I had no idea how much block locks were. So we'll see if John's ever able to delve into that arena. But definitely, you learn so much at the retreats and that. So that was absolutely fun and just a good opportunity. All right, let's jump back into chat for a few minutes. Alex says, John, I hope that you are planning a retreat for next year. Absolutely. So we have a retreat coming up May. We have one coming up in July. We have the Fall Frenzy coming up in September, and then we plan to stay on the New Year's retreat schedule. Next year, I think, is actually 3 days versus 4 days, just because the way the holidays fall. So it'll actually be a day shorter, I believe, next year. But we just actually got home tonight, unpacked, unloaded, put everything together, and then went back and looked at our calendars and that to make sure what we have and what we have posted is what we want. And I do need to reach back out to the facility and talk to the facility to make sure our dates are in alignment and coordinated. But I think they should be. And then now she's taking 27 dates. So I do need to get her over what we want to do in 2027. All right. Pat says, I love the 3 yard quilts. I do too. I will say that I tend to, of course, if you don't have to follow the channel more than 5 minutes, know that I'm a Villa Rosa person. So, no surprise if I tell you we're going to bring projects and we're going to gift you different projects to work on during the retreat. No surprise that one of those would be something from Villa Rosa, and then the second to that would always be 3 yard quilts. I love Donna and Fran, so it just makes sense, right? If we talk about working on certain projects, you can almost always expect 3 yard or Villa Rosa. I do tend to lean towards Villa Rosa a little bit just because it's easy to convert their patterns into the AccuQuilt. And I love my AccuQuilt. I'm trying to do less and less hand cutting. As Miss Baluna said at the retreat this weekend, that this hand is her AccuQuilt. So she does not have AccuQuilt at the moment, and she does all of her own cutting, which is amazing. I am just not that good with it and accurate with it, so it really does help me with accuracy and piecing and that, because I use the AccuQuilt, and of course I've made too big of an investment now not to really be getting my money's worth out of it. And especially because I still work full time, unlike Brian and other folks who are retired, I have to cut corners any place I can. And by being able to throw things into the AccuQuilt makes it easier. Some patterns on the 3 yard quilts can be converted over pretty easy to the AccuQuilt, but it does seem to challenge me a little bit more in doing that sometimes. Who else is here? Mama Jan says, the wonderful talent I witnessed at the retreat was more than mind blowing. Actually finished several projects. One sweetie finished 3 of their gift projects. Beautiful for sure. And like I said, I will get all of those posted. We do have a lot of pics. I will definitely get those out on the Facebook page. We played several games. It was interesting. I found some Etsy games that we were able to play about who am I, what is this, name that. It was a lot of fun, very interesting feedback in some of the answers. And then we, of course, played left, right, center a couple of times. Lynn won left, right, center the first go round, and that was 24 patterns from Villa Rosa. Then we played again last night, and that was fat. We played for fat quarters, and Lynn won again. So it was interesting that she won both left, right, centers. So, but kind of cool. You just never know. Who else? Oh, Balloon says, interesting jammies that Rust has. And Rust says, I'm not discussing my jammies. You don't have to. We showed the picture. So we're all good. Inez likes the colors. Thank you. And I'm a purple person, right? And so I was trying to figure out quickly to get, I thought, now that Christmas is over, I should be back in my Guys Craft 2 shirt. But I had to get this one, right? Because this one says that it's not my fault. I was left unsupervised and the fabric store was open. So this is what one of the shirts my daughter gave me for Christmas this year. So that was kind of cool. And I thought, you know what? I'll wear it. She doesn't watch the channel, but I can tell her I did have it on tonight. Thank you all for the compliments. Yes, I really am so happy how that turned out and starting to really feel like I'm finally kind of getting in my groove. I mean, I'm just starting year 3, and I feel like I'm finally understanding and starting to really put some things together and starting to match corners, match my triangles, all of those things much better. So it really does help. Becky says, when I purchased one from Jordan's, I bought two. So it was right. See, so that's what I wish. And then as I'm reading through, it says, if you wanted this, you should have bought two. If you wanted this, you should have bought three. It's like, okay, well, I didn't. I'm sure the website said that. I'm sure that and I can tell you, I was still so new in that. None of that mattered. What the two things that jumped out at me was I loved the purples. I loved those colors, and it was pretty reasonably priced. And at the time, I didn't comprehend that reasonably priced may mean, well, it's smaller than what you think it's going. I think I'll automatically think every kit's going to be at least a twin size or bigger. So anyways, it's fine. Like I said, I still like it because I could border it and do a few things to make it bigger, but I think that would take away from it. So I'm just going to use it as a table topper. Pat says, have you tried Deb Tucker's rulers? No, I have not. To be honest, I don't know that I've heard of Deb Tucker. And so I rolled away from the camera to see where I put a pen. Yep. So I can write that down. So I will take a look and see about Deb Tucker rulers. All right. Oh, Pat goes, I just got an AccuQuilt so we can cut blocks for Valor. It just saves so much time in that, and the accuracy in that is there. But it is a huge investment. I'm lucky, right, because our quilt guild has a SIG group called Go Gang. Mama Jan's in charge of it. So they meet once a month. We actually had a lady in our guild that donated about $10,000 worth of retail dies to the guild. So we have plenty of, we have a huge assortment of dies within just the club itself. Of course, I've purchased a few. Mama Jan, I think, has purchased almost every other one that they own. So between most of us and a lot of the ladies, we have just about any uh, die that you could imagine. And that goes all the way back from some of the older original dies all the way forward. There is also a club over in El Mirage, which is another quilt guild club that you can join. They meet, I think it's 2 Saturdays a month, and I think it's $25 to belong. And they're actually just an AccuQuilt club. That's all they do. I don't think they get into um, they're not necessarily a special interest group, and I had found them about a year and a half ago, and they have lots and lots of dies for a reasonable price. And so you can join that and go over there and cut. So if you don't have an AccuQuilt, you're curious about an AccuQuilt, you can always talk to your local shops and that to see what they do and how they support it. But a lot of the clubs and a lot of the guilds have started their own groups where they're purchasing. Folks have donated some of the dies into the club itself, and folks are pretty good about sharing their dies. We don't at our club. We have the dies at the club available. You're able to use them on the days that we're there or with someone as part of that SIG group, but we don't let people check them out. So you do have to use them there. We don't want them growing legs and someone taking one home and just forgetting that they have it and then someone else asking for it. Janet says, I just purchased the AccuQuilt electric one. I love it. Yeah, I started with the electric one just because I knew the baby was not going to be big enough for me. I looked at the Go and then looked at the electric and decided, you know what? Today, I have no problem turning the handle and pushing things through and doing what I need to do. A year from now, 10 years from now, it could be quite different. And so I just went on and made the leap to the electric. Since then, I've got back to the other direction. Actually bought the baby because I can sit right here and do my strip cutting and do my binding. So if you've not, and maybe I'll do a video one time on it. Chris over at Rose City Originals, it shows you how to do your binding and do your matching in that for when you cut the strips, how to put that together for again for your binding. It's so much easier to do on the baby, so I tend to use the baby when I do that, and then able to miter and put that together right here. Um, Brian says retirement. See, just a nasty word. I've got at least 6 more years, 5 at least, probably 6. Zaza says that's a great t-shirt. Thank you, Miss Zaza. I will have you all know you should be very, very proud of me. A few of the women at the Quilt Club wanted to go to a quilt store. Wanted to go to, for me, it's 35th because that was about 20 minutes from the retreat. I took them down there, actually walked through 35th. 35th did have a really good sale, had about everything in the store 30% off. They did have some stuff up to 50% off and different things, but I will have you know, I walked into that quilt store. I walked through the fabric. I actually looked at kits. They actually had Halloween fabric 50% off and probably had at least 3 shelves and at least a shelf of Halloween fabric that I do not have. And then they only had about 2 shelves left of Christmas. I was really disappointed. Happy for them, right, that they've gotten rid of that much Christmas fabric, but really disappointed because, again, they didn't have that much Christmas fabric. And what they had left was the poinsettias and all that kind of stuff. So not stuff that I would want to purchase for my grandson when I start his Christmas quilt, hopefully soon, or I'll not have it done next November. But that was only 40% off, and I managed to get through the entire store and not purchase one thing. Actually, one of the ladies that I drove down to 35th had said, I'll go, but I don't need fabric. I'm only buying a set of needles because that particular person was doing some hand sewing and wanted new needles. And so they said, no, I'm not going to buy anything. And they purchased on our trip the biggest stack of fabric compared to everyone else. So I go over and they're standing in line with 8 bolts of fabric or whatever waiting to be cut. So I was like, how interesting is that? And no, I did not call them out, but I had to tell the story. Come on. Oh, Nikki says she loves purple. Let me tell you, guys, there was plenty of purple at the retreat. So, because we did give away, we tried to do a lot of nice things for the gift bags as far as putting in the totes themselves. We gave away 40-ounce tumblers that most of those were purple. Everything had guyscrafttoo on it. Everything was personalized, so each person had their own cup to use all week along with a lot of other gifts than that we put in the bag. Pat says, Deb Tucker has tons of videos, not cheap either, but helps make quilting easier and more accurate. Nope, I'll definitely take a look. I will go out and see what she has. Zaza says you don't really need AccuQuilts here. Guilds seem to be good. Yeah. See, so that's the thing. When folks tell me, well, I just can't afford it, I can't get into it, I don't know if I would like it. A lot of the guilds now are starting that. So you really need to reach out and get online and look to see. AccuQuilt should really do a better job of helping guilds advertise like through their site that they're partners and that they have dyes available. Hey, Carl, welcome in. It was so great to chat with you a little bit. Thank you for sending encouraging words for us. I know you had an amazing time at Stephanie's retreat over on the East Coast, over in Georgia. And definitely thought about you because, funny enough, I pulled out my Sylvester cat and all that from the retreat that we were together at last New Year's. So it was kind of interesting to think, wow, it's been a year since I've actually seen Mr. Carl, but we've talked since then. We're still good friends, and he is the one that put Barney together for me. And yes, Barney is slowly getting antiquated, adopted into the family here. Still haven't done a project on Barney, but I'm sure that's going to happen at some point. Inez won the fat quarters. Look at that. See? Jackie says, I started with the crank 6 months later, needed to get the electric arthritis flare. Yeah, see, that's why I thought, you know what, it just makes sense to start there. So that's what I just went on and did. Charlotte says, I have the AccuQuilt Go and don't. um, And Mama Jan says, Balloonist definitely made it special with lots of laughter. I'm telling you guys, if you've not met Mona, if you've not seen her in person, she has the biggest personality and she made things so much fun and just kept us all in stitches and that. And so it was so appreciative that she was there and just helped make the 4 days together so special. Yes, also says Chris is an ambassador, so he gets all the dies and he designs dies for them. Yes, I met him at QuiltCon. He actually had Rose City Originals cartoons of himself and that he gave away to us that went to his booth. And he was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of times during QuiltCon was demoing the trucker's hat. And I've watched him do the trucker's hat. I've watched a lot of Chris's video. I like the way he instructs. I like his patience. So I do tend to watch him quite often. Oh, Charlotte says I used a friend's electric one and it went too slow. I won't disagree with that. I will tell you it does not shove the fabric through there as quick as I thought it would. Balloonist says I, she could speak on my behalf. I did not buy any fabric. However, she did buy some on my behalf. How sweet was that, right? She helped make up for the shortfall the store would have experienced had I just left without purchasing anything. Come on, come on, come on. Katrina goes, yeah, I go in to get one thing and I find a ton more. Ina says, I love red like you love purple, John. Yes, and you know what? I just found a new pattern. Someone just had a pattern. Oh, I think it was Russ that just posted a picture of one of his quilts, and it was all in the reds, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I'm almost sure it was Russ that had the pattern posted on Facebook, and all the reds and all the different color combinations were just absolutely beautiful. Carl says Mona is a hoot. Yes. All right, so a couple of things coming up. So I did post an announcement this week that we have the holiday quilting bee coming up for Martin Luther King. That will be our first one in 2026. And it is hard to believe, guys, that fortunately I only have to work a couple of weeks and then I get at least a Monday off. I am really, really, really looking forward to that because I can tell you I'm not ready to go back tomorrow. Definitely not what I would consider well rested, but that's okay. Like I said, we had a great time. But we will be doing the So Charmed Table Runner by Villa Rosa. It's a different one. It's one that I actually had over in my stash. It's 2019, so this is 7 years old. So it is one of their older patterns. It is still on their website. You can purchase it if you want to stitch together. If you don't and you want to just tune in and listen to me rattle on for 3 hours, that's great too. It will be January 19th, and we start at 7 a.m. We go to 10 a.m. I really hope to be able to get this done during the live. I am not doing patriotic colors, but I am doing it all in the spring colors. And I found this one with the oranges, yellows, greens, and that. And it just screams spring to me. So that's where my mind is at the moment. So that's what I'll be working on. This finishes out 19 by 48 inches, takes 29 charm squares or 29 5 by 5 blocks to get this one done. It does take a half yard of fabric for the background, and it does take a third of the yard for binding. So that is the project that I am planning to work on Martin Luther King Day. I am still working on because, and I say I'm still working on it because I have not touched it since our last live, and that is the Playful Star Throw Quilt. And so that is what I am planning to maybe stitch a little bit tonight. Last week I didn't do so well trying to do it live because I had not really looked at the pattern, and so needed to plan to do that as well. Jackie says, John, got the Villa Rosa giveaway yesterday. Went from you to Las Vegas to Chandler. Crazy. You know what? It is so crazy. I mailed my niece in Virginia a bee wreath because she redid her kitchen, spent a lot of money, had all new cabinets, all new flooring, everything put in, and then decided she wanted to do a bee theme. Instead of asking me just to make her the wreath, she knew I'm crazy busy, have lots going on. So she actually bought one off Amazon. She said it looked like maybe a 5 year old put it together. Amazon ended up giving her money back. But once I knew what she wanted, I actually went to storage and that got everything put together, made her the wreath, and was so excited to throw it in the mail to get it to her so she would be surprised and excited. And I think this was like September, October. And it went from Arizona to Florida, from Florida to Hawaii, from Hawaii back to Virginia. It's like, okay, guys, no wonder a stamp costs a flippin' fortune nowadays because, I mean, you can't route clear across the country, back across the country, then leave the continental U.S. to go out to Hawaii. How do you think that's going to make money? And I'm watching it on the post office, as they're scanning, it's hitting different points. So I don't, I just give up. Oh, so Russ said he didn't post reds. I'll have to go looking through and see. Maybe it was Stephanie that had it. I know Stephanie posted today. I thought she did. So I'll figure out who it was, but it was a beautiful red quilt that I saw today. Belinda says she enjoyed meeting my partner. Yes, so Mr. Carl is my partner. He's a couple of years younger than me. He is a super, super, super guy. I am so fortunate to have someone like that in my life. He absolutely is the better half of me. He balances me. Um, he makes all of these things possible for me. So something as simple as now I have a new software to learn, which is amazing because the fun thing is on this software, I can do applause and drums and a bicycle horn. I have all these sound effects, plus I can download other sound effects, all kinds of really, really cool, fun things to do. But yet I still have to figure out how to do it. I don't know if you all even paid attention to the opening today. The opening still has the same music, but it is actually a brand new opening. The closing, the outro tonight has different music and will and has different scenes and different things in that. And then when I do recordings in that, I actually have a different intro for that. So we'll have the same intro always for lives, but a different one for anything else that's basically recorded in that. So you could almost tell what we're doing just by the music and by the intro. But was excited to get all that done. I'm nervous about the software change because I'm a creature of habit. I like rote learning. I like, if my scissors are supposed to be here, I want my scissors always there because, again, I'm a creature of habit. He actually spent a lot of time yesterday getting all of that set up and getting all of that automated for me just to make it easy for me. And so that's just how much support that he brings to me and to the channel. So he's just a super guy. Who else? Yeah, Zaza says the wreath had a great vacation. Yes, it did. I don't understand. I get that they somehow had a miss and from here ended up in Florida versus Virginia, but to get it from Florida to Hawaii versus going from Florida to even like, Nashville or Memphis or Pennsylvania, it's just like how do you throw Hawaii into that mix? I think the post office should pay to let me travel where the wreath did, but who knows? Yeah, Jackie says even UPS routes are crazy. Yes, that is for sure. Katrina says I had a package from M make it to Georgia only to go back to Kansas City before it came to Georgia again and finally crossed the border to Florida and then went to Orlando before it came to Jacksonville. I don't know. I just don't know how they do it. Jackie says everyone needs a partner like that. I miss mine. Rob was so supportive of everything I wanted to try. Yep, and that's one of the things he talked to me last night about, and different things about the retreat because I do tend to be stress myself out. I do want things done a certain way. I want things to feel a certain way. I want things to have a certain look. That's all very important to me. The experience that you have when you're with us, and just if you're purchasing something out of the Etsy store or coming to the retreat or whatever, I want people to feel appreciated and valued. That was great to have Mama Jan there to help reinforce that sentiment, that philosophy in that for us. But at the same time, it does definitely take a toll on me. And he told me that's because you were supposed to stay out of the kitchen. My role was the background. My role was to do the cooking. My role was to handle all of those things. And it's not necessarily that I'm just controlling, which I probably am, but I also feel bad because I want him so included in different things, and so I have to be comfortable that we each define what we do in these situations and that, and he's always that second pair of hands for me, and it just means a lot to have someone supportive like that. So sorry, I rattled on a lot more about that than I should have or probably needed to. Pat says, I always say my packages go on an adventure. It's true, right? How crazy is that? Um, Zaza says, John, what's the name of your Etsy store? It is Pride, Pride, Proud, Proud Designs. And that is simply because the Etsy store, our business license, and everything started as part of the wreath business. And so pride was very important to me back in that day, still is. Proud really comes from the military side of our family, my son being in the Air Force, and then, of course, design. So our store is Pride and Proud Designs. And so it's grown into the quilting store. It's grown into a lot of other things now just because that's the way it is. And it always is linked in the bottom of our in the description in that down below. But I will actually probably plan to do a recording this month or February because I do get a lot of questions about how did the business start, how did the business evolve, why do you have a channel called guyscrafttoo but yet you have a Etsy store that has a different name. Part of that's being lazy because I don't want to have to go through and change business licenses and all that. but at the same time, each one has a significant meaning to me, and I think they collaborate and work well together. But I also know sometimes it can be confusing, and I don't mean it to be off-putting. Uh, Absolutely. So I want to make sure that folks understand and know where to find us. And one of the things we're still trying to work to get on our Etsy store is all of the new Harry Potter stuff. Because I mean, we've got to get the Harry Potter stuff. I have yet to take the plastic wrap off, so I definitely want to get that open. My Harry Potter panels just shipped. They shipped, I think, the 30th or 31st. They're not here yet, obviously, because of the holidays. So I'm really hoping, I think they're due to be delivered on Tuesday. So I'm really anxious to get those. And I have no idea what pattern or what we're going to do with that, but I'm very anxious to get that going as well. Oh, Pat says, Katrina, did you get up and sew the Advent box? She's in Florida and they have an Advent party. That's kind of cool. We don't have enough folks here that do that, but that would be kind of cool. Zaza says hosting can be hard work. It is. And, we knew we would learn so much during this inaugural. The retreat itself did not sell out. We had 8 total retreaters of the 12 spots available. But we learned so much, and the women were so patient, so understanding. And like I said, the camaraderie in that was just so perfect there. Kathy and Karen could not have been nicer ladies. Mona definitely kept us on our toes all 4 days and that, and just again was such a hoot. Mama Jan jumped in. All the ladies were just so great to us. Katrina says, I missed the open gate box this year. I had not planned to get the open gate, so when they decided not to do it, I wasn't surprised. It just seemed like the cost of their box was going up. But I was very happy that I ended up picking up the Bella Rose box because I think it had a lot of the same it, it followed along a lot of the same things that they were doing over at Open Gate. And I've been a big fan of Open Gate for a long time. And I actually had their monthly subscription in that for a while and just got so backed up with it. In fact, what's interesting is I took two open gate projects to possibly work on this weekend, and then just decided I didn't want to get into the cutting. Zaza says everyone says the open gate boxes are good. They were, and they were 12 days. Just so you know. Patrick goes, John, you have lots of projects planned. Yes, I always have lots of projects planned. Luna says, and she was well fed. And Luna's being who she is, right? Because she is an amazing woman. She has been such a supporter of the channel and that. And she brought us gifts to the retreat. So, how awesome is that? And she brought us these sew bags. They are so cute. Um, she actually brought a variety so folks actually could choose what they want. They are so great because you can keep your um, cutters in here. You've got the pockets in that, the way she put these together. You've got room to put your scissors together. I had to empty mine to bring it home, but so adorable, right? With the colors, the buttons in that. And Balloonist is a big supporter, watcher of the channel because everyone had a choice in selecting what bag they wanted. I did not because she made my bag special because I'm special, and mine is all gnomes. And my two favorite colors, right, is purple and orange of all combinations. And she ended up using orange fabric inside. So how cool is that? And with the blue and the blue buttons and the blue hats and all that on these gnomes, These were just absolutely adorable. And I am so, so, so appreciative of that. And you will see this sitting around a lot in the sewing room and that if you watch my channel pretty regularly. What else did she do? Oh, and then my partner actually picked out this one, which is Sunshine and all in the blues and that. And so he was really happy. And then she actually put this really cute label on that says, "This was made in the desert." And she put her initials on the back and the year. So, again, just something really special from a special lady, um, just to add to all the other things that went on this week. What else? Pat, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I have definitely cut back for next year. Next year, I am not doing Missouri Star. I will say I am only cutting back from Missouri Star simply because of cost and because so many content creators are already doing Missouri Star. I think the bandwidth is getting full, especially around Missouri Star. But I do think if you're looking for an Advent box, I think this Advent box was probably the best that they've put out in the last 3 or 4 years. But it also still has some hand crochet, not hand crochet, but handwork in it. Uh, the book that they gave us to read, the charcuterie board, which I thought was kind of neat, the little station to hold your tools, right? Your scissors and all that was kind of cool. It's just not eh, expense wise, financially. I needed to make some cuts somewhere. And in my mind, the two best boxes of the ones that I had purchased this year were definitely Bella Rose and Lynn over at Soft Squares, which Joydy actually turned me on to. And I'm very, very thankful that Joydy did that. And so I did purchase the 25 days with Lynn again for Soft Squares, and Bella Rose only does a 12-day, and both of them already have pre-orders out. So I've already gotten on the list for next year, and hopefully that means I get mine early. But we will be doing just those two. I do need to figure out how to do the openings next year. If I still want to do separate videos, and do I still want to do one each day. Bella Rose, I cheated this year and did the full opening on my birthday because I already had the other 3 boxes going. But we'll figure out. I've got 10 and a half, almost 11 months to figure that out. Brian says, balloons, that's a cute gift. Love it. Sweet. That's adorable. They are, they really are. That's what's so crazy. It's like these are adorable gnomes. And I mean, like this one's got cow, this one's bee, this, like all the different seasons in that. So I love the fabric itself. So she hit that one out of the ballpark. Jackie says, "Is that your pattern?" I know Mona talked to us a little bit about the pattern and how she had learned to make those. Brian says they make those colors make me want to drink lemonade on a hammock. I know exactly what you mean. And Zaza says, and now you have all 4 mugs. So now that I have all 4 mugs, see, there's no reason for me to go back. Yeah, Zaza says the Missouri Star just has too many non-quilting or sewing things for her. I don't disagree with that. Um, Pat says, I'm doing it just one more year to see what they do now that the mugs and ornaments are done. Yeah, see, and that's another reason I think I decided not to do Missouri Star for 26 is because I do think they understand they've built some loyalty and following around those mugs and those silly melamine plates. So it would not surprise me that they come out with something to either complement those or something to kind of follow along that suit. And I thought, no, 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 you're not. I can't be bought into yet um, another set of series. That's why how Hallmark gets me, right? I actually stopped my keepsake ornament club because I just don't decorate to the level that I have in the past. And it just makes sense to me that I don't need as many ornaments, right? Because we're not probably going back to 15 Christmas trees. I would say for this year, when we put Christmas up, we'll probably only put 5 Christmas trees up, maybe 6, because I definitely want one here, and then we'll have to at least have 4 or 5 in the other room, and hopefully we'll be able to put some on the screened-in porch, so maybe 3 out there. So it could end up still being 8 or 9 by the time we're said and done. But we still got to take the Christmas tree down from this year because I mean, guys, we've just rushed through the holidays and we haven't even gotten our own stuff down from here. Mm-mm. Sally says it needs to warm up a bit first. See, it's been so warm here. I've actually had to turn the fans on in that. Actually, at the retreat house at night in that, it was so warm in the bedrooms and that I had to turn fans and that on. It's just been crazy. Oh, see, Joy says maybe they're going to do bowls. Goodness, they could do bowls, and then if they do bowls, I'm going to be sorry I missed those. But let's hope. Let's hope don't. They don't add to it. I don't. I just don't need. And I don't. Now I will. I do use the mugs. I do like that mug. I like that size for certain things. Excuse me. We used to keep them at the park home, and so I used them at the park home. Now with that on the market and that, we definitely won't be using them up there. I don't need them down here, but I still want them down here. But I've never used the plates. I have the plates over in a special corner because I know several have told me that they've dropped their plates and they literally just shatter. And definitely don't want that to have happen. Oh, Jackie goes, please, my grands would love them if they added the bowls. Oh, look at Sally. She has a good partner too. Her guy, she says, I found out over New Year's that he likes the Hallmark mysteries. I actually just finished The Good Witch. I got really hooked onto that. I'm getting away from all of this regular TV on, I told you all I had Sling at one point. I've gotten rid of that, went to Philo. Was going to look at friendly TV and that. And I thought, you know what? I'm tired of that. I have enough subscription services. I can find what I want. I ended up watching The Goat Witch on Hallmark. I finished all, I think it was 6 seasons, and now they have a movie to go with that series. And I have not watched the movie yet. I will. But I really got hooked into that series because I've always loved that lead actress. And of course, the little handsome guy from Desperate Housewives is on there. And so to me, they just play, they're just such a perfect couple in that series. So that's really cool. Jackie says I used the mug for a pen holder. Yep, I get that. Oh, Becky said she did see the new introduction and she liked it. Thank you very much. I had a friend that actually does those for me, and poor guy, I think he updated it about 6 times before I go. Well, that's not quite. Well, we're close. I think he thought, okay, if you don't stop, you're never going to get this new introduction. Yeah, see, Katrina had one shattered. I knew it was somebody. I couldn't remember exactly who. Oh, and Pat goes, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I like the box too. Interesting enough, I kept the Bella Rose box because it was so nice. I kept the Missouri Star box because they are so nice. And I asked my partner, I said, don't you want these like to keep some of your laser and 3D stuff and all that in? And then he goes, I just don't think I'm ever going to use them. I'm like, but they're really nice boxes. I hate getting rid of them. And then I looked in the garage and he still has the one from last year that he never did anything with. So we ended up tossing ours, but they're just such nice boxes. But I don't know. Sally goes, he told me about the Gut Witch. See, it's out there. My son hooked on Roku for me, put on TV in the bedroom. I'm thrilled not to be. Yes, I am too. I totally get that, girlfriend. Yes. At Department Q is good, but I'm biased as it's Scottish. I tell you what, we are getting so hooked on BritBox that it's not funny. But now I'm scared that we're going to end up going on watching, needing to get a subscription with BritBox, and I don't need one more. But British television is bringing a lot of things to us. All right, guys, we are at the top of the hour. I am sorry. I feel like I've just rattled on about a lot of things today. Never even got started on stitching. I definitely want to do that next time. I hope you all have had an amazing New Year's. I hope you're ready to go back to work or at least get back to regular life as things start. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for all you do. And as always, until next time, happy crafting.